Good day, I'm Dr. Edward Bethel, and in this video, I'm going to show you how you can use the curriculum mapping template to map out your course content for your online course. Now, while this tool is designed for online courses, it's also useful for face-to-face courses because of the way that it breaks down in so much detail your activities from week to week. So this is an example of the curriculum mapping template, and you'll notice at the top there are three heading rows, one for the course name, course code, and overall course objectives. Then these six column headings: week, topic, objectives, instructional resources, activities, and assessments. Below that, we have entered guides actually in the body of the table to give you some idea of what each of these columns should look like when completed. So for the week, you're going to put the week number or date. So week 1, week 2, week 3, or if you prefer, week ending September 5th, or whatever the case might be. Under the topic column, you're going to put the content to be covered in that week, and you can take that directly from your course outline. Under the objectives column, you're going to write the learning objectives, and they should follow the ABCD principle. That is, you should be able to give an idea of the audience who is being addressed in the objective, the behavior that you want, the performance that you want that those audience members to perform, the conditions under which that performance should take place, and finally, the degree to which that performance should be done. So if you want it to be 100% correct or 75% correct to meet the need of the objective or whatever the case might be. Now, some people don't always have it exactly to the C and D conditions, but certainly A and B must be met when you're writing out these objectives. And there's an example down here. At the end of the unit, the learner will be able to, and then you say the specific unit the specific performance conditions and criteria that those learners should be able to do. Instructional resources refer to any texts, learning aids, websites, etc., that you will be using to assist you to get the learners to meet that performance. The activities are the actual tasks that the learners will be asked to do in learning those objectives. And finally, the assessment will be how you plan to actually measure whether those students have met those learning objectives. So under each of these weeks, all of these things should be filled out. Now, finally, you will notice that there are these two rows here, topic and subtopic. Some people include, they're optional. Some people include them. Some people just ensure that all of the information is written under this topic or content column. It's up to you. But they're just to indicate whatever topic is being taught that week and whatever subtopic as well. So I'm going to demonstrate for you how it looks to actually complete this document and what a completed document might look like. I have a course outline here, and this is an old course outline from 2017 for a college prep geography class that I taught. So right from the top, you can see we have the course code right here. So I'm just going to copy that course code, and enter that directly into the document. And then the course, I'm just going to type that in to save time. And then finally, the overall objectives. I'm going to copy those rather than having to write those out again. So overall objectives are here. And I'll just copy and paste those directly into the document. Good. Now, you may have noticed that when I was copying and pasting, I selected the cell and then went up here into the editing row, copy and pasted up there. That's because when you do it this way, you can actually include carriage returns in your overall objectives or in whatever content you're putting up into that cell. And it's nice because these can be identified as separate objectives for each line. It's not required, it's just a little trick that I try to do. Good, so I'm going to now move on to actually filling out the weeks and putting the topic, objective, instructional resources, etc. for each week. And importantly, what you will need to do is look at your course outline and to see how that course outline should be broken up by weeks, because many of the course outlines don't necessarily divide the content up by weeks, rather they divide it up by topics. So we have 13 weeks, and I notice that I have, I think, 5 topics altogether in this course. So I'll need to break some of these topics up into subtopics to balance out my weeks. And I think that what I can do is I can go with week 1 can be geographical skills. Week 2 can be field work. I can complete this stuff in week 2. Week 3 will be the first subtopic of this topic here, so the geological subsystem. Week 4, geomorphological subsystem. Week 5, the biotic. Week 6, erosion. Week 7, population. Week 8, settlement. Week 9, economic subsystem. And then week 10, 11, 12 can be broken up between the weeks on environmental management. So that will work out pretty well. So let's go back to week 1 and start to enter that into the mapping template. So geographical skills will be my topic. So I just type that in here. And I'm not going to really bother use the subtopics. I'm just going to delete that row. I'm just going to, from now on, just include topics. And so I want to put week number. Oh, week 1 is already entered, and this content should be taken directly from the course outline. So I said that that's going to be the Bahamian 1 to 25,000 topographic maps. So I'll just copy that directly. And then I am going to need to determine what the students need to do with these 1 to 25,000 maps. So for my objectives, I'm going to need to figure out what exactly they need to do. So there are going to be a couple of them. So I'm going to start with students need to first determine the direction from one point to another using the 16-point compass. 2 is going to be determine the bearing from one point to another. And then 3, probably say something about map scales. Use the map scale to determine the actual distance from one point to another. So I have, and notice that all of these are specific behavioral objectives. We said that this is to be preceded by, at the end of the unit, the learner will be able to, 1, determine the direction from one point. So that's the performance. This is the condition. Determine the bearing from one point to another. Bearing is a performance, condition is from one point to another. And use the map scale to determine the actual distance. So those are 3. We have the A, B, and the C in these things. And then now reference to any texts or learning aids that will support instruction and learning. So there are going to be a couple of texts that I'm going to use. One is going to be map work for the Bahamas, capital T. The second is going to be, and you know what, I'm going to put all of these in because I'm going to copy them for each of them. Map book for the Bahamas, the Ordnance Survey maps, the 25K maps of the Bahamas. And what else do they need for that? Calculator. Good. So that's those are the learning resources that they will need. Off the top of my head, I don't have any online learning resources that they will be using for it. What will they be doing? Good. So for the determine the direction, um, students will sketch, will draw a line from one point to another and overlay 16-point compass to determine the direction. And so the assessment for that will be, and it will probably be an assessment for all of these, but it will be students will be required to determine direction on a novel or a new 1 to 25,000 map, 16-point and bearing. So what that says is that the assessment will be students will be given a map that they're not familiar with, and then will be asked to or required to determine the direction from one point to another. So you'll just go through all of the content on your course outline and map them out week by week by week by week. When you're finished, um, your completed curriculum mapping template should, or your curriculum map, it would be when you're finished, should look something like this. And this is an example of a math course. So week one, here's the topic, here's all of the objectives, and here are the resources that will be used, and then a list of the activities, and then this assessment, again, is an assessment for the entire list of objectives, and it applies, it's specifically described, and not only is it described, but it's the due date for that assessment is listed as well. Then you can go down to the next week, and again, similarly, it lists out all of the objectives for this specific topic, the instructional resources, activities, and all the way at the bottom is well, there are two. And typically what I would have done, rather than put these both in the same box, I would have put the quiz in one box and the assignment in the other. And then you just go through and complete that week by week by week. The beauty of this tool is that once you're finished, you can then translate this content directly into your learning management system and have your entire course mapped out week by week. And all of the content then can be just directly imported from your curriculum map that you've drawn up. Similarly, for in class, face-to-face classes, you can use this to populate out your week by week lesson plans because it has all of the activities, has all the resources, and lists all of the assessment that you will be using in that particular class. So again, this is the one that we've started with, and then you just go through and fill out as I've demonstrated to get a completed document as was shown for the math class. I hope this helped, and if you like if it was helpful, please like my channel and subscribe to the channel Movie for Everyone. Have a great day, everyone.